Once upon a time, Lena had a garden. It was a garden full of colorful flowers, watered with laughter, and nurtured with hope. In the middle of that garden was a well every dream Lena tossed into it would shine like a star at night. And at the heart of it all stood a house. Lena's house of feelings. But one day, silence fell over that house. A black mist descended from the sky, and from that mist came a monster. No one could see it. Only Lena could feel it. The monster crept into the house of feelings. As it stepped into the garden, the flowers bowed their heads. It stole Lena's voice. It stole her dreams from the well. It locked all the doors in the house and ran off with the keys. Day by day, Lena grew quieter. She no longer knew what lay behind each door. She had forgotten the names of her feelings. At school, her notebooks remained empty, her drawings faint, and her voice was gone. She sat alone in the back row and didn't want to play with her friends. When they came near, she lowered her head and didn't respond to their questions. Sometimes she pushed them away with angry gestures. Her teacher noticed the faded look in Lena's eyes. When asked what was wrong, Lena replied with frustration, "I'm fine." But inside, she had so much going on. Everything was tangled. Her teachers and friends were deeply saddened by her state and wanted to help. They told the lightbearer, a person who helped children find happiness, like every day, Lena returned to her garden after school. The flowers had lost their colors, their voices, their joy. They had shed their leaves. She sat by the dream well, staring into the water for hours without speaking, as if searching for something at the bottom. Then one day, she heard a familiar voice. "Your garden has grown so dark, Lena. I brought my light, if you'd like. I can sit with you for a while." Lena turned her head and saw a face she remembered from the old days. There was a calm in their eyes that glowed even in the dark. Someone who never forced open doors. Someone who simply sat when they sat, looked when they looked. The children had named them the lightbearer because they came with light when it was needed most. They sat together in silence for a long time. For the first time, Lena felt understood without needing to speak. Then the lightbearer said, "It's so quiet here." Lena didn't respond. It feels like something is lost in this garden. Still silence. Sometimes keys get lost, they said softly. Sometimes someone has to help look with a flashlight. I can't find them for you, but I can look with you. And in that moment, one of the locked doors inside Lena's heart gently trembled. The surface of the well was still. The lightbearer broke the silence. There are waters you can't bear to look into because you're afraid of what you might see. Do you look into this well, Lena? Lena lowered her head and clenched her hands. Sometimes I do, but sometimes I quickly turn away. It's like the monster is waiting there for me. Then I get angry and throw stones at it, hoping it'll leave. Is it the monster that hurt you? Lena held her breath and nodded. Is it still there? Asked the lightbearer. Lena whispered, "It seems like it's gone, but I'm scared it might come back." After a long pause, the words began to slowly emerge. I was so scared. When the monster came, I wanted to scream, but it stole my voice. No one heard me. And now, even when I speak, it doesn't sound like my voice. The lightbearer looked into Lena's eyes. "By telling me you were scared. You're calling your voice back, Lena. That is your voice. And you don't have to be afraid anymore, because we are here. And we will do our best to help you heal." The lightbearer took their flashlight and walked toward the door of the House of Feelings. As Lena's recent words echoed through the air, a key began to slowly form on the door. "If you're ready, shall we take a look inside together?" With trembling hands, Lena took the key and opened the door. It was quiet inside. Little girl sat in the darkness, hugging her knees. Lena recognized herself, alone, afraid, helpless. She was trying to hide from the approaching shadows. Lena walked toward her, kneeled silently, and hugged her. The little girl began to cry, but these tears were the tears of feelings finally set free. The darkness slowly receded. Fear was no longer loneliness. Anger found a voice. The next day, when they returned to the garden, it was still quiet. The lightbearer sat with Lena on the ground. They placed the flashlight gently on the soil. Together, they watched the withered leaves of the flowers. Then, softly breaking the silence. "Sometimes you want to speak, but your words get stuck because you feel ashamed," said the lightbearer. "There's something, but it's not a good thing," said Lena. After a short pause, she continued, I feel ashamed of myself for being there, for not doing anything. I get angry at myself, like it was my fault. A voice inside keeps whispering, if you hadn't been there, the monster couldn't have come. I can't silence that voice." The lightbearer gently nodded, their tones still soft, still full of trust. "Hearing that voice doesn't mean it's your fault, Lena. Sometimes guilt screams at us. You couldn't protect yourself. That voice is the echo of a deep pain, not being able to do something. That's helplessness, not guilt." This time, the lightbearer didn't shine the light at the door right away. They placed it slowly into Lena's hand. "This time, you must hold it. Whatever is inside, we must see it with your light. And whatever we see, we will not judge, we will try to understand." Lena pointed the flashlight toward the door. A key slowly took shape among the rust. But this time, the door didn't open on its own. Lena hesitated. What if? When I go in, I feel even more ashamed of myself, the lightbearer gently whispered. That burden isn't yours, Lena. The monster left it with you. If you go inside, you can leave it behind. Behind this door is a part of you that will understand. This was never your responsibility. Lena took a deep breath and turned the key. Behind the door, another Lena sat, covered in a heavy blanket. Her head was bowed, eyes avoiding the mirror. Lena recognized the shame. She stepped inside, knelt beside her, and gently removed the blanket. Then whispered, "This happened to you, but it wasn't your fault. The monster left shame with you. But you're not alone anymore." The little Lena lifted her head. She looked at herself, and for the first time, she was embraced without judgment, with unconditional love. Shame and guilt gave way to compassion. The next day, Lena sat drawing shapes in the dirt with her fingers. "Have you ever been broken?" she whispered. "I've looked into many children's eyes, Lena. I've seen that brokenness. but in each of them, there was still a flicker of hope. Maybe no one else could see it, but it never went out. Tears welled in Lena's eyes. She spoke in a soft voice. "I think I lost my hope." The light bearer nodded gently. "And that's a very real feeling, Lena. Because, trust, it's not just about good intentions. You want to know the other person won't hurt you, that they'll listen, that they'll believe you." As they spoke, the light bearer pointed the flashlight at a door. This door was nailed shut, not to keep others out, but to keep something trapped inside. Lena stared in fear. "This one feels different, like something's being hidden from me." The light bearer knelt to her eye level. "Behind this door, there might be a Lena who's been trying to protect you, but she's exhausted. Maybe she trusts no one because she had to protect you alone. Facing her won't be easy, but when you're ready, I'll be right here." A key slowly began to appear at the top of the door. Lena reached for it. She paused for a moment before turning it. When she opened the door, the Lena behind it had hope in her eyes. A teacher held her hand. Her parents stood beside her. And, for the first time, the little Lena looked straight ahead. She recognized trust. Distrust gave way to a cautious but hopeful belief. When all the doors were opened, a sound echoed through the house. It was Lena's voice, the one the monster had stolen. The light bearer smiled. The darkness behind that door grew only because it couldn't see your light, Lena. But now all your feelings are together again. Shame, guilt, loneliness, anger, mistrust. You've made peace with each of them, and each one has given you strength. And they added, courage is not the absence of fear. It's walking forward despite fear. And today, you won't walk alone. With those words, the other Linus behind the doors came forth. Now, they stood behind the real Lena. The monster's door in the garden began to slowly creak open. There was nothing inside, only darkness. But then, in the center of that darkness, a monster silhouette appeared. Large, shapeless, and gray. Lena stepped inside. This time, her voice was clear. "I've taken my voice back. This darkness no longer belongs to you. There's no place for you inside me." And then figures of light appeared in the garden. They were the good people's symbols of justice, safety, and compassion on their shoulders. They had heard Lena's voice. They captured the monster and took it away. Lena was no longer alone. The garden began to bloom again. Dreams burst forth from the well. The flowers stood tall. The keys to the house of feelings sparkled once more in Lena's hand thanks to the light bearer. And Lena now carried her own light. Who knows, maybe one day she too would share that light with other hearts.